This is GyroGearloose with RV Hacking on the Cheap, and today we're going to discuss tire pressure monitoring systems, or TPMS. My budget does not allow several hundred to several thousand for a piece of safety equipment that in all likelihood you'll never use. Well, I might have been a small amount wrong. After two catastrophic tire blowouts, it might have been a good idea to monitor tire pressure better. A couple years ago, I recommended as a convenience using little tire pressure sensor caps. These are calibrated to a certain pressure and change color as the pressure decreases. At any rest stop, you can quickly scan your tires, and if any are the wrong color, you know you need to add air. For only a couple dollars, this seemed like a good idea. However, even at the time, I knew that the shortcoming of these cheap caps would be that if the tires ever lost pressure while rolling, you would not be notified until you stopped again and happened to look at the tires. They don't call your attention to the problem, and you can't really look at them while you're in motion, which is when a problem would develop. This itsy-bitsy tiny shortcoming may have contributed to the catastrophic failure of two tires, one of which did significant damage to the trailer. Compared to that damage, a TPMS would have paid for itself several times. So this winter I went looking for a cheap TPMS system that would work on my 35-foot trailer, and was very surprised to find this unit for $17 delivered. Yes, $17, and available with internal or external sensors at your preference. My unit only reads load range D tires up to 80 psi, but there are higher pressure sensors available. It reads the temperature and pressure of 4 tires, and you can set whatever low or high pressure and high temperature alarm thresholds you choose. It's completely wireless, not only from the tire sensors to the receiver, of course, but the receiver itself doesn't need a cord either because it's powered entirely by a solar panel on top. There's a USB port if you want to top off the battery, perhaps for you Alaskan natives that get 23-hour nights. But here near the Canadian border, I've only seen it lose one battery bar in the snowy depths of February, and then it recharged. I leave mine on the dashboard and haven't plugged this in ever in the year I've been using it. It also uses the solar panel to auto-adjust its brightness, making it bright and easy to read in full sunlight, but also comfortable to read at night. My truck has its own TPMS display built in, so I only needed 4 channels for the trailer. If you need additional channels, you could run multiple 4-channel sets, or there are similar systems with more channels on one display. If you are monitoring a towed-behind car, I actually recommend separate units, since you can then instantly move your car's receiver between car and RV dashboards. Remember, no wires, so just pick it up and stick it up. Based on the icon, this unit is clearly intended for a car, and I do use an identical unit in my passenger car. That one actually indicated a hub bearing that was going bad, although I didn't know why a normal pressure was also running hot until the bearing was beyond recovery. Trust your tech more, eh? So if it's meant for a small car, but I'm using it on a 30-foot truck dragging a 35-foot trailer with multiple metal walls between senders and receiver, should I be concerned about range? The short answer is, of course you should check. So I did. With the receiver on my truck dash, I screwed each sender onto the tire stems. All 4 updated within a second of being attached, so no problem there. I then took the receiver 25 feet in front of the truck and unscrewed a sensor on the tire. Within a second or two, the alarm went off, flashing an emergency decompression. Perfect and unmistakable. I then took the receiver 100 feet away and repeated the test with another sensor. I got an instant alarm. 150 feet and 200 feet, still working great. Finally, a whopping 300 feet away, and it finally had trouble reading the tires. Now, does this really mean that this little TPMS system, cheap as heck and not even using a repeater, is really good for 300 feet? Most importantly, is it ironclad within the hitched up distance? Actually, this does seem pretty bulletproof out to 75 feet or so, no matter how I try to mess it up. How did 300 feet fall back to 75 feet though? Simple. In my first range test, I carried the receiver away from the trailer and was effectively testing open air transmission. If you know about radio signaling, putting the driver's body, seat, metal truck wall, my bed cap walls ×2, and the metal front and walls of my trailer in the way of the signal, which then has to bend around all those radio-proof obstacles, driving the receiver away from the trailer made it lose contact at much closer ranges. You may be wondering, what happens when you do lose signal? You'll know you're not actually reading a tire because its data will disappear from the display. Interestingly, driving your truck away from the trailer does not cause this behavior when all 4 tire signals are lost at once. It appears this unit only decides the sensor has failed when it updates any other channel, and it's been a minute or two since it heard from the now missing channel. Clever error detection there, since doing that keeps it from alarming just because you drove your truck away from camp. Upon returning, the frozen display again automatically begins updating new tire readings as they are received. So all in all, I'm pleased as punch with how well this TPMS works for my needs. That said, I did have one mishap with it. I got the external cap-mounted sensors, and normally when you install these, it's recommended by tire experts that you do not use the standard rubber valve stems. Nope, not even the high-pressure rubber stems like I had. Within a very surprisingly short time after installing the TPMS, it went off with an urgent decompression alarm. Second by second, I watched the pressure falling, so it was clearly not a malfunction. I came to a safe stop ASAP, and the tire was indeed venting air, out a crack in the valve stem right against the rim's hole. So the weight of the sensor swinging around fatigued the stem to failure. I changed the tire, and upon getting home, swapped all my stems for solid metal bolt-in stems. You can get these TR16 stems for $8 for a set of 4 on Amazon, and then whatever your garage charges you to swap out your stems if you can't mount tires yourself. This labor charge is what I wanted to avoid by using external sensors, since internal sensors would require this sort of tire service for installation and then every time you change the batteries. So I still win with external sensors, better stems, and being able to change the batteries easily. But I wanted to be fair in this video, mentioning this hidden charge. This has been GyroGearloose with RV Hacking on the Cheap. I hope this video has been informative to you. If it was, check out my other DIY RVing videos. It really does make a difference to Google if you click the like and subscribe buttons, so you know what to do there. Just don't press the ejector seat button without opening the sunroof first.